Let's go. Okay, guys, welcome back to another live stream. We're here today again to expose another one of these facilities that exploit animals by executing them for optional products. As you come in this chat, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan, put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open to these conversations, and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. As you're coming in, please double tap the stream, like it, share, subscribe, hit the bell notifications. Our first disclaimer today is we're not here to cause alarm, harassment, distress, or any form of intimidation. We're here today to exercise our right to our freedom of speech and our public assembly and protest peacefully on public land. That's exactly what we intend to do. Our second disclaimer is that we're here today not to clash, to point fingers, or to judge anyone who's not vegan. We're simply here to turn your head against the industry who have lied to you from the very beginning. Yeah, they're not expecting us at all today. That camera's not facing us. Who knows what we're going to see when we come around this corner. This is a slaughterhouse right here. Are there animals in here already? Oh yeah, animals are being taken off. Animals are being taken off. Let's get this up. Get that camera over the top.
Yeah, we're gonna.
All right. Oh my gosh, it smells. It smells so bad. 1 in the chat if you're vegan. 2 in the chat if you're not vegan. Be open-minded to these conversations, and 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Let us know where you're from. Double tap the stream. Please like, share, and subscribe. We're here today not to clash with anyone. Like the disclaimer said, we're here today to come alongside you, turn your head against the industry who have lied. Take note of this. On the way into this slaughterhouse, what can you see on the floor? This is a trail of shit and piss. Now, the reason why there's a trail of shit and piss on the way inside that slaughterhouse, because the animals who are coming inside here are in fight and flight mode. They are literally dumping anything that's in their intestines because they are so petrified of where they're turning up. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan. Be open-minded to this conversation. 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream. Please like, share, and subscribe. We're here today to show you the truth, to show you the reality that the industry won't. The industry won't show you the trail of shit and piss of fear of baby animals to go inside slaughterhouses. If the industry showed the consumer and the public the reality and the truth, they would lose profit within hours. The industry would collapse because anyone with a compassionate heart and empathy would remove their support for this violent industry. Put 1 in the chat if you've already removed your support for this violent industry and you're vegan. Put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're a kind person, you have empathy, you have compassion, you're just not connected with the animals. And put 3 in the chat if you're an anti-vegan, if you believe that animals are here for you to be exploited in any which way that you see fit. Double tap the stream as you're coming in. Like, share, and subscribe. We need to get the likes in the room before the next truck of animals turn up. The animals being brought here today are cows, dairy cows and beef cows. I say dairy cows and beef cows not because they identify as dairy cows and beef cows, but that's what the industry market them as. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to these conversations. 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream, like, share, and subscribe. I'm live outside of a slaughterhouse right here in the UK. Now, when I say dairy cows and beef cows, it's because the industry exploits 1 for her breast milk and 1 for their flesh and their body. There's lots of noise going on behind me now. This camera still hasn't turned around. Maybe they don't even know that we're here yet. Maybe they don't know that we're here. Whenever you come to these places unannounced, 9 times out of 10, you find something going on. And this is why we don't ever publicize where we're going. We publicize sometimes a date, but today, we have it today. This is a surprise live stream. We've not scheduled our live. By not scheduling our live, the camera wasn't facing down the road. We weren't here already briefed, waiting for us to turn up. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan. You're open-minded to these conversations and free. Take care of animals. Double tap the stream. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you to all the legendary vegans in the room right now. It absolutely stinks here right now.
Oh, it smells so bad.
I presume in a minute we'll see all the security run out and they'll
Yeah. In a minute they're going to run out. They're going to put this gate onto manual because, listen, any of you number 2s in the chat, watch how secret this industry is. Watch the secrecy and the deception and the lies. They don't want the consumer and the public seeing any form of this reality. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to this conversation, you're a kind heart, and you're a nice person who perhaps hasn't connected with the animals yet. 3 in the chat if you're an anti-vegan, if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream. Please like, share, subscribe. We are not here to rage bait. We are not here to clash. We are not here to point fingers and say you're a bad person if you're not vegan. What we are here to do is to turn up and show you the reality and the truth that the industry won't do. The industry will never tell you that over 20% of dairy cows go to slaughterhouses pregnant because they're sold on how much they weigh. The industry will never tell you that the bacon sandwich that all you love so much, that was a 6-month-old piglet who was sent inside of a CO2 gas chamber to be executed. No one will tell you that free range, organic, RSPCA assured, they're all marketing tactics. One in the chat if you're vegan, two in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to this conversation, three in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification. We go to slaughterhouses 2 to 3 times a week to bring the reality to the consumer. We shine a light on the darkness. We bring what happens behind these doors out for you to see, because the industry never will. They sit down, now they know we're here. Now the camera's turned around on us. They're now monitoring that we're here. This was always been pointed down the road whenever we scheduled a live stream. So they knew that we were coming. Now the reason why we schedule live streams is to let people know so they can come in and support us. But today we've come completely unannounced and we've descended on the industry, and we're going to show you exactly what we found. Now the first thing we found is a trail of shit and piss. This trail represents the fear that them darling baby dear animals felt as they went inside, in my opinion, this dungeon of hell to be executed.
Vegan Christianity, thank you so much for your kind super thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping untwist this twisted backwards world. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It is a twisted backwards world. You're so right.
It is. On the way up here, I said to Mel in the car, I cannot believe we have things like face recognition, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, yet we still have trailers bringing, in my opinion, slaves to slaughterhouses to be executed. One in the chat if you're vegan, two in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to this conversation and why we're here. Three in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream, like, share, and subscribe. We're here today to show you the reality not to clash. Did you know that there are 2 breeds of cows? Did you know that one cow was exploited for her body, one cow was exploited for her breast milk? This slaughterhouse behind me right now, the reason why I'm referring to cows is this slaughterhouse here, ABP, they kill specifically only cows here, and that's who you're going to see coming in today. If you stay in this live stream for at least 10 minutes, your life will change.
But yeah, this is bad. But what about eggs?
Yeah, so okay, the egg industry is absolutely evil. The egg industry, if you were born a male in the egg industry, like the dairy industry, you're considered a waste product. You're sent to an open blender, a macerator on the first day of your life. If you go into the description of this live stream and click on Dominion and watch Dominion, you'll see exactly what happens to male chicks in the egg industry. Now, any female chicks in the egg industry, I'm going to tell you what happens to them after you've put one in the chat if you're vegan, not vegan, but you're open-minded. What a triggered idiot. People are so triggered, but no one ever comes as a conversation. Triggered little crybaby troll. One in the chat if you're vegan, two in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to this conversation, three in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the live stream. Please like, share, and subscribe. And then you get a thumbs up of appreciation. Now, let me tell you what happens at 18 months to these egg-laying hens. At 18 months old, egg-laying hens are sent to gas chambers because they can no longer keep up with the production levels. They're deemed a commodity. Every animal is a commodity. This isn't the backbone of humanity. This isn't the bedrock of our civilization. This is an evil business. This is nothing more than a business. Money in, money out. Profit margins. Where's the bottom line? How much money do we make doing this? And then how do you make a successful business? You market to the consumer. The public, the general public, have been marketed to.
Look at all the birds in the sky waiting.
Yeah, all the birds soaring over. The reason why is because there's body parts. There's body parts all over in that slaughterhouse yard. We've seen it. We've seen the body parts just in bins. Absolutely horrific. One in the chat if you're vegan, two in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to why we're here. Three in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let us know that the audio is good. Let us know that the stream signal's good. Remember, we're not here to clash. We're here to educate, to bring you alongside us and turn your head against the industry who you should be angry at. You should be angry at these guys. These are the people who know full well that these animals come inside this business to be executed, shaking and shitting and pissing in fear because they don't want to lose their life. We are not talking about a difference of opinion. We are not talking about who's wrong and who's right. We're not talking about what tastes better, what's more convenient, what any different God says, what any different religion says. We are talking about an individual's life who does not want to die, who has the ability to feel pain and suffer, who has the ability to have a subjective experience, who has emotion, who has family. And I'm talking about cows, chickens, pig, sheep, lambs, fish, all of the animals who are executed and identified as commodities rather than individuals. It's an absolute atrocity what we do to animals, and it needs to end now. I'm going to swap in with Mel.
Yeah, really well said. It absolutely stinks here, guys. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you're not vegan yet, and 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Please double tap this live stream and subscribe. Let me just tell you that we are not here to hate on you. We're not here to rage bait. We're here purely to defend the animals who are going into a slaughterhouse today and every day. We're here for the animals who have been tested on, who have been used, commodified in whether that's for leather, their wool, their skin, their fur. Any sort of animal commodification is wrong. It's animal slavery. It needs to end. This is a slaughterhouse behind me. They kill dairy cows behind me. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you're not vegan yet. And 3 in the chat if you are anti-vegan. Please double tap this live stream. Please, please subscribe. We are here and we're going to be seeing animals coming into this disgusting facility today. We showed up unannounced today. We were here yesterday as well. How many trucks did we see yesterday? Like
so many.
7 in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It was insane. So many individuals had their lives taken yesterday. This isn't just one slaughterhouse, by the way. There's slaughterhouses all around the world. Did you know there's gas chambers in the UK and all across the world still today killing babies? 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you're not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. They're doing the door now. So this door is meant to be on a manual, on an automated system. When we arrive, they put it on manual because they can open the gate faster, although I see them do it very slowly because they can't move anything because they're not vegan.
That smell. Can you
And now
smell that?
security are here. Now security are here, waiting to open the gate now for when the trucks arrive because they don't want you seeing the face of the animals going inside this place. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you are anti-vegan.
They're all confused, right? They're thinking, we didn't see the notification, we didn't see.
Yeah, they're like, what's going on?
Yeah,
What's going on?
exactly.
Be unpredictable. Always be unpredictable. They think we'll schedule our live. They think we'll turn up. They don't know when we're going to be. They don't know where we're going to be. Included all slaughterhouses. Did you know that since doing Project Livestream, going to slaughterhouses with other activists all around the world, they are hiring extra security, which is draining their pockets. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, and 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live. Please subscribe.
People are saying in here, dairy cows aren't killed for milk. Don't be so silly.
I'm at a slaughterhouse. It's not your fault that you don't know that cows are killed for dairy. It's not your fault that you don't know cows have to be forcibly impregnated to produce milk. It's not your fault that you don't know that cows only produce milk because they're mothers. Their milk is only intended for their baby cow, just like how your mother's milk was intended for you. What the farmer does, he takes the babies away, he kills the males, sends them to a slaughterhouse, and he steals their breast milk and sends it to you. He's mugging you off and getting your money. He's stealing from you. You don't even know the truth. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. Please, please subscribe. Go and watch Dominion on YouTube. That's Dominion on YouTube. It's the documentary everybody wishes they saw sooner. It's a documentary that's actually hidden from you by the industry itself. This industry will spend billions and billions of pounds to indoctrinate you and brainwash you from a child. From literally the moment you are born, you are brainwashed. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you're not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you are anti-vegan. Please double tap this live stream and subscribe. And to finish on the dairy part, every single cow from the dairy industry gets sentenced to a slaughterhouse unless they died on the farm due to whatever reason that was.
Where can they watch Dominion? Is it in the description?
Yeah, go to our link, 3 dots in the corner of this live stream. Go to the link in the description and watch Dominion for yourself. It's about an hour and a half of your time. Look at this wee and poo all over the floor as these poor cows entered into this absolute evil place of hell, and it is hell. Animals do this and we do the same. When we are so afraid and we are so scared, our body will naturally get rid of anything in our body so that we can evade danger faster. Now in this place, even if they evaded danger, behind this gate there's a cattle grid. So even if the cows tried to escape, which they do, they will have their legs broken in this cattle grid and they'll be dragged back to that kill floor and killed and have a knife in their throat. Many people I speak to think in the slaughterhouse, animals are injected. They're put to sleep like you see your companion animals, your pet animals, right? No, they're not. They're stabbed in the throat. Every single animal that you see in a farm, that you see on the fields, every animal is stabbed in the throat. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. Please like, share and subscribe and comment, ask questions.
I'm seeing loads of number 1s and loads of number 2s.
Amazing.
I think number 2s and number 1s are definitely the majority of the chat today. What made you vegan?
The dairy industry. I did not know what happened in these industries. I was a number 2 who I just did not know. Let me see who's in the room now. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you are not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Please double tap the live and subscribe. Yeah, I did not know. For 26 years of my life, I said I loved animals, but I didn't know the industry. I was drinking cow's milk. I was drinking I was eating animal burgers and animal flesh. I was probably wearing leather shoes. I used to love Ugg boots because I was like, oh, they keep my feet warm, thinking that the sheep aren't commodified or killed for their wool. I had zero idea, just like you guys on the live chat, a lot of you who may not know. But they designed this to be deceptive. They designed this so you don't know. When I saw inside a slaughterhouse, I saw a mother cow from the dairy industry inside this place, and I went vegan on the spot. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. 2 in the chat if you are open-minded, but you are not vegan yet. And number 3 if you are anti-vegan. Please double tap this live stream, guys. Please subscribe. We are not here to rage bait. We're not here to hate on you guys. We're here purely to defend the animals who have been stabbed inside this place and all around the world. This is one slaughterhouse. On June 19th, we have the biggest live stream event happening that the world has ever seen for the animals. We have activists placed all over the world. We'll be live streaming outside these places of hell to show you it's not just one place, it's a conveyor belt of killing. Constant conveyor belt. Did you know chickens are killed in gas chambers? Did you know piglets are killed in gas chambers? Did you know turkeys are killed in gas chambers? Go and have a look at Joey Carbstrong's latest expose. Have a look what they hide from you. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live. Please, please subscribe. We are not here just telling you things that we've seen. We've been inside these places for ourselves. We've investigated farms. I've seen firsthand what happens on these evil farms that say on the wall, award-winning. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Number 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you're not vegan yet. Number 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live. And please, please subscribe. I'm just going to show you the slaughterhouse. Have a look at what a slaughterhouse looks like. This, what you're seeing here, cows would have been on these 2 trucks here. You would have had dairy cows here who have gone inside to be stabbed in the throat now. They're killing cows behind these gates right now. They're now washing down the left-hand side truck, which is the grey truck, because they've unloaded the cows, and then they wash all the feces away because the truck driver doesn't want the poo and wee on their truck, right? They're like, nah, get rid of them. They discarded the cows in there, and they want to wash their trucks, make sure it's clean. Now, the blue truck who's just unloaded the other cows will wait until that area is free, and then they will do the same thing. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you aren't vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. Please subscribe. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now. Right now. If you want to see what happens on the inside, go watch Dominion on YouTube and I'll link in our description. See for yourself the reality. Have a look for yourself.
What's your objective today? Are you here just to rage bait people?
Absolutely not. I'm here to defend the animals. That's my primary objective. The way I defend the animals is by telling you guys the truth and showing you the reality. Number 2 is if you're probably just the general members of the public who just don't know yet. And it's not your fault you don't know. And I really wish that I knew sooner. I wish that someone told me years ago, because the moment I saw it is the moment I changed. I was sickened by what happens in the industries. I was absolutely heartbroken with what happens in these industries. Nothing in my life that I've ever witnessed has ever been as bad as what happens to animals. Animals have it the worst. They have it the worst. Out of every single individual on this planet, the animals are the most oppressed victims of our time. They've been oppressed since the moment humans arrived on Earth. They've been oppressed. Even if humans are at war, the animals are still oppressed. Even if humans are at peace, the animals are still oppressed by the masses, by billions. There's 90 billion animals killed every single year. Every single year. 1 in the chat if you're vegan. 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you're not vegan yet. 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream and subscribe. If you think what I'm saying is extreme, you go watch Dominion and see the truth for yourself. There is only 9 billion humans on the entire planet. 9 billion humans on the entire planet. It takes about 77 days of the rate we kill animals to make our human species extinct. They forcibly breed these animals into existence. In my opinion, it's premeditated murder. They know what happens. Farmers force themselves inside the animals. In the dairy industry, a cow gets put in a cattle crush. They cannot exit. They cannot back up. They can't move left and right. They're stuck. The farmer then puts himself inside the cow. puts his whole arm up to his shoulder in the cow and injects her bull semen. I call that something beginning with rape, if that was humans, right? It's the same thing to animals, exactly the same. That individual, if they were human, would have people going, oh my gosh, that's awful, and they get therapy and help. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream and subscribe.
Yeah, well said. Guys, go into the description, 3 dots in the top right-hand corner. Go and click on the link that says Dominion. Go and watch Dominion from start to finish, and you'll understand why we're here today. We are not here to clash. We're not here to point fingers. We're not here to name call. We're not here to argue with non-vegans. We're here today to come alongside you and turn your head against the industry who have lied to you. Like I always say in these live streams, if you're a number 2, let us know. I'll continue what I'm going to say in a second. 1 in the chat for vegans, 2 in the chat for non-vegans who are kind, but you're not vegan yet, and 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals and you're anti-vegan. Double tap the stream, like, share, and subscribe. Like I always say in the live stream, the majority of people are number 2, and the majority of people who get angry at vegans is because they care. So when you get angry and frustrated and you feel like you're being attacked, it's because you actually care. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, 3 in the chat if you don't care, if you think animals are here to be exploited in any which way you see fit. But make sure you double tap the stream, like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell notification. Now, the majority of people who do care, it's not your fault that you're not vegan yet, because the industry is deceptive by design. It doesn't want you to know. It doesn't tell you the truth. And in fact, it doesn't even give you the transparency. It gives you a massive lie. These industries lie to the consumer with a marketing ploy like any other business. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're a kind person, 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. 1, 2, and 3. Double tap the stream. Please like, share, subscribe, and make sure that bell notification's hit. And make sure you've double tapped and liked this live stream. Now, when I talk about the indoctrination and the conditioning of number 2s, never being able to critically think about this system, it's because you're told that it's humane and that it's ethical, right? They use the RSPCA Assured logo. They use the Red Tractor certification. We say, oh, the FSA, British standards are so high. Then you ask someone what the actual standards are, and nobody knows. You say, oh, best of the British farming standards are the best in the world. And you say, what are them standards? And they go, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you're taught to blindly follow the pack and never challenge the status quo.
So
1
true.
in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded and you're a kind person, 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals, if you're an anti-vegan. Double tap the stream, like, share, and subscribe. Now think of it for a second. When you go to the supermarket, when you go to the clothes shop, when you go to buy your cosmetics, if you're going to a day out at the zoo or you're going to the aquarium, if you go out, do you ever critically think about the industry that you're playing into? You don't. You're taught to just fund these industries blind, and you're just told it's all okay. Now imagine any other injustice in the world if the perpetrator was just patting the public on the back saying, don't worry about it too much, it's all okay, carry on, it's all okay. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to these conversations, 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream, like, share, and subscribe. Now when the perpetrator pats the public on the back and says, don't worry, don't think about it, don't look to the right, carry on forward and go around to the left, you're going to have a great day. You're controlled, you're manipulated, you're not allowed to critically think or challenge the status quo. You just carry on like lemmings, just moving forwards, and you never ever look up and question. Well, this is exactly what we're making you do today. Question the status quo. Question, are you a good person? Do you have empathy? Perhaps you do have moral consideration for dogs and cats. Perhaps that's you. Then ask yourself, honestly, then why don't I have the same moral considerations for chickens, chickens, cows, sheep, pigs? 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to conversation, 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream. Please like, share, and subscribe. Go to the link in the description, 3 dots in the top right-hand side. Hit the Linktree link right at the top. You're going to be able to go to Challenge 22, Help Going Vegan. You're going to be able to go to Dominion and watch that documentary. You're going to be able to go to Pignorant and watch that documentary. You can go to Joey Armstrong's latest exposés. His last 2 exposés of inside slaughterhouses. They're both there. You can click on both of them links in the description and you can go and see the truth for yourself. You owe it to yourself to see the truth. Why should you be kept in the dark? Why should you not be given all the information? Because at the moment, if you're a number 2, if you're a kind person who does care about animals, you are paying for some of the most horrific violence, and someone is not even letting you look at what you're paying for.
Yeah.
1 in the chat, I'm going to tell you something interesting about that in a second. But first of all, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to why we're outside of a slaughterhouse today, talking to the public. 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream, Please like, share, and subscribe. Now, talking about not letting people see, you go and watch Pignorant on Amazon Prime. The link's in our description in the link tree. When the vets asked to see inside the gas chamber.
Here you go.
Oh, here we go. Guys, we're going to have a little moment here because when these trucks leave, it's a somber moment. The empty feeling of loss, the empty feeling of they're gone. Now, this truck, in my opinion, is no different to a slave truck. This truck would have come in today with innocent animals on. He gets to go home.
Look at that
But the
sign.
animals who are on this truck, they're left in there to be executed.
Look at that
Look
sign.
at the wee and the poo coming out of it. And this truck's been cleaned down, by the way. Look, you can see the water coming out. They clean these trucks down because of the wee and the poo on them.
Shameful.
Absolutely disgusting. One in the chat if you're vegan.
Right, I might be able
Oh,
to
that
see it.
smell. Two in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded and you're wondering why we're at a slaughterhouse live streaming. Three in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell notification. Now, I was talking to you about if you watch Pignorant. In the description, go and watch Pignorant. The vets who went to the gas chambers where they're gassing 6-month-old piglets asked to look inside of the gas chamber. They said, let us see what this CO2 gas is doing to the animals inside of the gas chamber. Guess who wasn't allowed to look? The very vets who were supposed to be signing off to say that this was humane, that this was ethical, this was all okay. But guess who exposed inside that gas chamber? Joey Armstrong, an amazing, brave activist with his team. They do incredible work for the animals. Now, he went in and he was the first person to put 4K footage of inside that gas chamber showing the animals. Now, guess what? Them animals were seen convulsing, screaming, ripping their own legs off because they were in so much fear-induced terror and pain, trying to escape. One in the chat if you're vegan, two in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded. This conversation, three in the chat if you don't care about animals. The animals were screaming in pain, in terror, in fear. CO2 forms carbonic acid on any mucousy membrane, which effectively means it feels like you're being set on fire. And that's what happens to a 6-month-old piglet for a bacon sandwich or for a sausage roll. And if you don't believe me, then click on the link in the description, go down to Pignorant and go and watch it for yourself. If you're paying for it, then you should watch it. If you're paying for these products, if you're paying for this evil to happen to these animals, then you should watch it. Because any good person, when they see it, would then remove their support. And this is when we say about a number 2 becoming a number 1. Let us know where you are right now. Yep. Number 1 in the chat. If you're a vegan and you've already removed your support for this violence, put a 2 in the chat if you're a kind person, but you're not vegan yet and you're wondering why we're live outside of a slaughterhouse. I put 3 in the chat if you think that animals are here for you to use and exploit in any which way you see fit. Double tap the stream to like it, and please make sure you're subscribed with the bell notification.
What about animals that eat other animals?
Yeah, animals that eat other animals is a common excuse that anti-vegans use. Anyone who's genuine or actually listening would never say, well, lions do it though. Genuine people, when they hear what we're saying, just go, yeah, no, you got a point, I'm gonna go vegan. But for the anti-vegan trolls who are using lions though, or other animals to try and justify their selfish taste pleasure, I'll answer it once you put 1 in the chat for vegan, 2 in the chat for non-vegan but kind person, 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream, like, share, and subscribe. Lions are obligate carnivores. Animals that eat other animals are obligate carnivores. They're in a survival situation. They don't have the options that you do. You have the options and the choice. Now, when you have the option to be kind and remove your support for violence, then it's the moral obligation for you to do so. Just because other animals do it doesn't then automatically mean it moral and ethical. If the whole world was racist, you'd still be right to be the only anti-racist. Doesn't matter if others are doing it. You have to look inwards and go off of your moral compass. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded and you're a kind person wondering why we're outside of a slaughterhouse today. Put 3 in the chat if you're an anti-vegan, if you're like the people who work in this industry. Put a 3 in the chat if you're the person who could kill these animals inside this facility. Now, talking to that, I want to tell you what happens to these animals inside here, but make sure the 1s, 2s, and 3s are still coming in strong. Make sure you subscribe with the bell notification and double tap the stream. These animals that go inside here will be forced inside of the kill floor. Oh, God, it smells.
This van's coming in, so we have to see a bit more now.
They get forced forwards onto a kill floor, into a knot box. If you don't know what a knot box is, it's a big metal container where they go in. Where's this truck? Is this truck going in here? The audacity to say fresh foods. They're not foods. Animals are not food. Animals are individuals. Animals do not want to die. Animals have families. Animals have subjective experience. They have emotion. They have pain receptors. They have fear. Animals should be left alone. Animals should not be exploited for profit margins. Now, what happens to the animals? They go inside the layerage. This is the section that you can see in the camera right now. When their time comes, they get moved forward onto the kill floor. They get built down into a single file line until they're nose to tail with their family and friends. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're a kind person wondering why we're at a slaughterhouse, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan and you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream. Make sure you subscribe with the bell notification. Once they're nose to tail with their friends and family, they'll be forced forward into that knot box. Big metal box, they lift up one sliding door. The animals are forced forward and the sliding door comes down behind them. They're then trapped, they can't turn around and move. They'll then be shot in the face, stabbed in the throat, and executed for a cheese block or a yogurt. I'm a stop in with Mel. Let us know, 1, 2, or 3. 1 for vegan, 2 for non-vegan but a kind person, and 3 for anti-vegan.
Doesn't it sound like an absolute worst horror movie that you can ever witness, right? Witnessing something like that, let alone being the individual going through that process of evil. Guys, 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you aren't vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap, like loads of sections of white little housing, like isolation booths. And inside there were little baby cows from the dairy industry. The baby females only. Okay, only the baby females. All the males, when the cow gives birth to her baby boy, get sentenced to a slaughterhouse to be killed for dairy because people are stealing his breast milk intended for him. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you aren't vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream and subscribe. You know what I realised straight away when I walked over to these isolation booths and I sat next to those cows? They were trying to suck all my fingers. They wanted milk. They wanted their mum's milk. Their mum was halfway across the farm crying out for them, bellowing for them. And then what I realised was that on their tummy, I could still see they had their umbilical cord on. Their umbilical cord. Now, 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you aren't vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream and subscribe. They hadn't even had their umbilical cord like gone yet. That's how young these babies were. And don't forget the males who are going to a slaughterhouse, they will likely probably still have their umbilical cord on too. The farmers don't want the babies to be of their mums because if the babies drink the milk intended for them, they won't have any milk to sell for humans, right? What the hell are we doing? We're not baby cows. Why the hell has our species been so indoctrinated and brainwashed to think that we're baby cows? Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you aren't vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream and subscribe. If you don't think you've been brainwashed and you have cow's milk in your fridge and you have periods in your fridge from eggs and you from chickens, and if you have flesh in your fridge, then that's a definition of brainwash. People who know the reality and know the truth, once you're educated, you're vegan. But if you're number 2, you may not know these industries yet. Go to the link in the description and watch Dominion. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you aren't vegan yet, and 3 if you're anti-vegan. How could these people, why? Why are you still here? How disgusting that grown adults think it's okay to work in a slaughterhouse. The layer is open. Do you want to put the camera over? Grown adults think it's okay to stab animals in the throat. They're the real life number 3s. They're the real life number 3s. Anyone who could stab an animal in the throat should be sentenced to prison for the rest of their life because they are not fit for purpose to live amongst the rest of us. Don't forget, these people inside a slaughterhouse stab. They stab and kill all day. Their level of conditioning to violence is way beyond the general public. In fact, I'd say 99% of people could not kill somebody else. But only the small amount of psychopaths, in my opinion, that's what they are, because if you can kill an innocent individual, then that is a psychopathic trait and behaviour. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you aren't vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live and subscribe. What you're looking at right now is a slaughterhouse. Where you can see is the lairage. This is where, when the animals come in the trucks, they pull up here, they back up to this area that you can see right now on the screen, and they force these animals off the trucks. I've seen farmers here go to their truck, get out a prodding stick and prod the animals off the truck because the cows can smell up to 5 miles away. They're not silly animals. they're not dumb. They know what's happening. They know what's happening here. They don't want to get off here. They don't want to be here. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you're not vegan yet. And 3 if you're anti-vegan. This truck here will have entrails in. This truck, body parts, heads, all sorts. It will stink when it comes out because it'll be full of blood and guts and the bits that people don't want to see on their dinner plates, right? Like the head, the eyes of the victims. Evil. If you ever drive past one of these on the road, you'll know that this smell is from the guts and the blood of innocent individuals who didn't want to die. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you aren't vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream and subscribe. The animals will be coming here today. They're coming to a slaughterhouse to be killed, to be stabbed in the throat.
What animals are in there? How does it make you feel when you see them come past?
Like I said yesterday, it's unbearable. I hate being here. I hate witnessing this evil atrocity, but I have to be here because the animals need us. They need us defending them. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Number 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you aren't vegan yet. And number 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live and subscribe. Cows from the dairy industry go to this place here in particular, and from the beef industry. Cows from the dairy industry will be around 3 to 4 years old on average when they get taken to a slaughterhouse. What's he doing? Is he backing up into the lairage?
I've no idea. Maybe he's got to unload one and then pick another one up. What's in that blue thing?
Yes, there'll be entrails. What that'll mean, they'll be like that. There'll be the heads of the animals, blood, guts, all the bits that you don't want to see on your plate, right? All the bits that keep you indoctrinated. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you aren't vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live and please subscribe.
People are saying that vegan's extreme. I'd rather just be vegetarian.
No, vegetarian is extreme. Being a carnist is extreme. Veganism is someone who just doesn't hurt animals. How is that extreme? To be someone who doesn't hurt animals and to be someone who literally pays for slaughterhouses, to have gas chambers for piglets, macerating baby chicks in the egg industry, killing males in the dairy industry and all the females in the dairy industry. Do you think forcibly impregnating someone is extreme? Do you think killing their babies, kidnapping their babies is extreme? Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you aren't vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live and subscribe. The least extreme person on the planet is a vegan.
Lots of people saying God gave us animals to eat.
Nah, don't bring up the God card. God didn't say any of that. And in fact, if you believe that, that's your belief. No, you shouldn't put your belief on the animals and have them as victims. That's devil behavior. That's devil behavior. Shut the book, shut all the books that you believe in, because this has nothing to do with religion. Zero to do with religion. This is about a victim, a real life victim going to a slaughterhouse right now. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream and subscribe. I hate it when people go, oh, the God card, the God card. No, you don't use the God card when you're nice to someone, do you? But you try and use the God card when you're killing somebody, right? You can't wash off the blood just by saying, God said so, because the God that you're preaching about, to me, will sound like the devil. It's insanity to think that it's okay, to think that God would think this is all right. And if you then follow a God that thinks this is okay, then you're actually following the devil. Simple. It's simple understanding. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you aren't vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream and subscribe.
People say, why don't you go to a halal slaughterhouse and do this?
We go to all slaughterhouses, it's all the same. You put a camera in halal, they're all the same. You wouldn't be able to tell me the difference. What you think is halal, what you think is standard, you don't have an idea. You don't have a clue what happens in these slaughterhouses. You don't know that the majority of animals have their heads decapitated alive. You don't realise that these animals have their skin pulled off their face alive, fully conscious. You don't realise that these poor little lambs are having their limbs cut off whilst they're still alive. This is what happens in every single investigation that comes out. This is what happens. This mythical thing of human slaughter, it's an absolute lie. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you're not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream and subscribe. Please go and watch Dominion in the description and see for yourself what happens in these places.
Exactly, well said. I want to make sure that everyone coming into this room does know that the disclaimer we said earlier We're not here to clash with non-vegans. We're not here to name call. We're not here to point fingers. We come here to turn your head against the industry. The industry have lied to you. They're the ones who you should be angry at. They're the ones who you should be pointing your finger at and being cross for. They use all the tactics. They've got billions and billions and billions of pounds to keep you indoctrinated. And what do? We come here and we live stream to show you the reality and the truth. And they go above and beyond to prevent you seeing it. 3 security guards on the door running an electric gate manually because they don't want the animals to be seen. All the doors shut, cameras pointing on us, all of the spike fences, all of the netting, all of the secrecy. No one's allowed to see inside because if you see inside, what do good people do? They go vegan. Put a 1 in the chat if you're already a good person that's gone vegan. Put a 2 in the chat if you're a good person who has a kind heart, but you're not vegan yet because you're not connected to the animals and you're wondering, why are these 2 people outside of a slaughterhouse live streaming? I put a 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals, if you're an anti-vegan. Double tap the stream, like, share, and subscribe. Now, I want to tell you some facts about what happens in animal exploitative industries. I want you to know that all animals, not that it would make any difference, but all animals executed are babies. 42 days old for the chickens you eat, 18 months old for the egg-laying hens, 6 months old for the piglets, 18 months old for the cows that you eat, 3 years old for the dairy cows, days old for the males in the dairy industry, days old for the chicks in the egg industry. All of these animals, lambs, 3 to 6 months old, sheep, 12 months old. All of these animals who are executed for optional products, truck.
Small holding truck here, guys. When you say small holding is better, this is what
I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. Oh, you angel.
Get killed
You
with the
angel.
same
I'm
knife.
sorry, darling. I'm sorry. We're not like these people. I'm so sorry. What's going to happen to you? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. Their beautiful eyes looking out at me. It's one of the most heartbreaking, harrowing things to be 2 meters away from them animals outside of a slaughterhouse, knowing that their life is going to be ended within hours, and I can't do anything about it but appeal to you watching this live stream. If you're someone watching this live stream, the only way we save them is by you taking action. We've already taken action and we've already become a vegan. We've already hit the number 1. If you're a number 2, a kind person who is open-minded to why we're here, but you're not vegan yet, you have the opportunity today to prevent the next ones going in. Them dear animals that you've just seen go in to die, we can do nothing to save them. Their life is being taken today. I'm 20 meters away from where they are, and I can't do anything about it but appeal to you. If you have a kind heart, if you're a kind person, then please listen to what I'm saying. Go to the description in this live stream, hit the top link, and go and watch Dominion, and then go and click Challenge 22 in that same link tree. They're going to help you go vegan, and they're going to make you understand why. If seeing and them dear animals come past me enough wasn't enough to make you go vegan, then go and watch that. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to these conversations, and 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream. Hearts in the chat for them dear animals. I believe there was 2, potentially 3. Now, one thing I want to point out and make a reference to here, all the trucks that you've seen leaving today were factory farm trucks, right? Big, huge trucks. That truck that just turned up there was a small holding truck, a little trailer with 2 to 3 cows on. Now, when people say, oh, we're small holding farmers, organic, local, free range, they all come to the same slaughterhouse. They're all killed with the same knife. They all go onto the same kill floor. They still go through the same execution process. We're not here for sharper knives, greener fields, bigger cages. We're here for animal rights. 1 in the chat if you're vegan. 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're a kind person. 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. This trailer is now being backed up onto that layerage. What you're witnessing right now is this trailer being built, backed up, where they're going to drop the back of that trailer coming off, and you're going to witness them individuals taking their last walk. They're taking their last walk here today. Just this morning was the last time that they opened their eyes. Last night was the last time they probably all laid down together for some form of comfort and cuddled up to go to sleep, not knowing at all that today was be the day that that farmer would do the ultimate act of betrayal and send them here to be executed. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to these conversations and you're a kind person. 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream, like, share, and subscribe. You're witnessing animals taking their last walk to death. Now, you could argue that, let's say this small holding farmer was a really good farmer who really cared for his animals, then these animals trust them so much. Hang on, we've lost the shot, There. Tilt back just a slight little bit. There, that's perfect. These animals would trust this farmer, small local farmer, right? Free range, organic, all the other nonsense. They've willingly walked onto that trailer today because they trusted him and they thought where they were going was a nice place. And what's he done? He's betrayed them. Ultimate act of betrayal, and he's sent them to a slaughterhouse. Tilt to the right, tilt to the right. There. Just witness them as they come off to die. This is an absolute atrocity. This should never be happening. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to this conversation. 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Put hearts in the chat for these dear animals going in here to lose their lives. They're going to be killed today for optional products. This is just an option. You can choose something different. You don't have to choose this violence. There goes the trailer. There goes the trailer. That trailer's too low.
Yeah.
That trailer's too low. It shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
They could slip. They could potentially fall on their way out. Let's make sure that stays completely still on that shot because we may witness them falling out there. That should be on a substantial slope down. Absolutely harrowing. We've been doing this for weeks now, for nearly a year, and it's still, every time I see animals coming off here to die, it breaks my heart. 1 in the chat if you're vegan and you're no longer responsible for this violence. 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're witnessing this with us. You're wondering why we're here today, and you're a kind person who's open-minded to the message. 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Put a 3 in the chat if you think that this is acceptable. There they go. Them poor angels, them poor innocent animals. So gentle. If you've ever been around cows, they're such gentle animals. They're caring, they're loving, they're very empathetic, they're very sensitive, they're very sweet, they're soft, they're kind-natured. They just want to be left alone. They just want freedom, love, and some safety. That's all they need. And what do? We remove all of it. For an animal that only wants freedom, love, and safety, we're very good at removing every single factor. We give them no freedom. We give them numbers. We give them no safety. We send them to be slaughtered. And we give them no love. We give them cold, dark barns in horrible, shitty farms with these evil, in my opinion, absolute evil animal farmers. 1 in the chat if you're vegan. 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to this conversation. And 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. 1, 2, or 3. Them animals are gone. Them animals' lives will be taken. By the time you sit down tonight and you go to sleep, they'll be closed. Their eyes will be closed forever. Their hearts will stop. Their lives will be taken. And then when you realize that amount of loss, that amount of pain, that amount of torture, that amount of suffering was for a chocolate bar or for a cream tea or for a yogurt, how can you justify it? 1 in the chat if you're already vegan and you're not a violent person who pays for this absolute atrocity. 2 in the chat if you're a kind person, but you're wondering why we're here at a slaughterhouse and you're open-minded to listen to what we're doing here today. 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan, if you're like the people who can stab these animals to death. And double tap the stream. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please go into the link in the description. Please go and watch Dominion on YouTube within that link tree. Please go and sign up to Challenge 22. Go and get help to be vegan. They're going to give you 22 days of support.
Renee, thank you so much for your kind super thanks.
Oh, thanks, Renee.
You're not a meat lover, you're a coward animal abuser. Does anybody here really relate with people like this? I doubt it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody, if you was to go into your local town, right, and if you was to kick a pigeon, everybody in that public space would look at you and think, what is that person doing? Yet they're not connected to the chickens and the cows and the pigs. We don't like animal abusers. We don't like animal exploitation. But we've been conditioned and indoctrinated into turning a blind eye and never critically thinking about it.
Yeah. Someone else, a vegan rebel, thank you so much for your kind super thanks.
You.
But animals feel pain. To be vegan is the most logical, ethical, and compassionate way to live. Start caring, open your eyes, and stop paying for cruelty. Go vegan.
Absolutely, well said.
100%.
It's logical consistency. Being vegan is just logically consistent. Most people who are number 2, by the way, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're a kind person, 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream, make sure you're subscribed. But logical consistency, most people here who are number 2 would morally consider their dog or cat. They would look at them and they would morally consider them. They'd give them a name, they'd give them a bed, they'd pay all the money to make sure they're safe and healthy. So they're already morally considering animals. No, most number 2s do. But what we're saying with logical consistency is to be logically consistent, that morality and that consideration of morals should go to cows, chickens, pigs, fish, sheep, lambs, all the other animals. Because what is it about a cow that does or doesn't continue with your dogs? What does your dog have that cows don't? Or what do cows have that your dog doesn't? They're all sentient beings. They're all someone. 1 in the chat if you're vegan. 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're a kind person. 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream. like, share, and subscribe. Like we always keep saying, we're not here to fight. We're not here to point fingers. We're not here to argue. We're here to shine a bright light in this dark, evil industry. We're here to show you the reality. And we just did that. You just saw individuals, big, wide open eyes, inquisitive little noses sticking out the side of that trailer, and you saw them come past. That's the reality.
We'll show him. Let's show him. Let's show him. We'll show you who went past a moment ago, and then when this farmer comes out, we'll see if he'll talk. Likely not. Animal farmers often just laugh and they think it's funny what they do. They got no empathy for the animals at all. Okay, so here's a slow-mo video here. Maybe a little bit. That's these dear animals.
But you got to tilt it down.
No, let's go by the fence.
There you go. I got it.
Look at their poor little nose. Smallholding farmers betraying the animals that they claim to you that they love. What the ultimate lie, committing the ultimate act of betrayal. How dare these people do this? How dare these people live amongst us?
Should be allowed.
How dare these people commodify and use the most innocent, childlike beings on the planet?
1 in the chat if you're vegan and you've already removed your support for this evil industry. 2 in the chat if you don't care, if you are a kind person, but you're not vegan yet. And 3 if you don't care about animals. Please, guys, listen to what we're saying. We're not here to clash with you. We're here to just be truthful, to show you the reality, and to educate you on what you don't know.
Someone said I buy my meat from the butcher.
Yeah, well, your butcher gets it from the slaughterhouse, or they kill the animals themselves. Whatever way you look at it, there's no right way to do the wrong thing. It doesn't matter if your butcher tickles the animals to death. They're still taking their life for an optional product. There's no right way, whether you look at your small, local, organic. That's who's in there right now. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're a kind person, 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Your small, local, organic, free-range nonsense, that's who's in there right now with their trailer. They're in there giving all the humane, all the other rubbish that the consumers love to feed on. The butchers, they kill the animals. The hunters, they kill the animals. The slaughterhouses, they kill the animals. What's in common with every single one of them? They kill the animals. The animals should have the rights to their own life. They should have the right to their bodily autonomy. They should have the right to their freedom. Who are we to take that away from them? Switch with the animals for a second. It's called empathy. Empathize with the victims. Imagine what it would be like to be born into these systems as one of these animals. It's absolutely horrific. Put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're a kind person and you're open to why we're here today. Put 3 in the chat if you're a bad person. Put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Put 3 in the chat if you're the same as the people who work in this industry and you believe that it's okay to exploit animals for food, for fashion, for medicine, for cosmetics, for entertainment. Put the 3s in there. Double tap the stream. Like, share, and subscribe. Let us know where you're from. Let us know if you've gone vegan today by listening to this live stream. Let us know how you felt about when you saw them dear animals come by with them big, wide open eyes and them little inquisitive noses. I'm going to swap over with Mel.
Guys, 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you aren't vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream and subscribe. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now. They kill cows here from the dairy industry. They kill cows here from the beef industry. They kill piglets all around the world in gas chambers. Little tiny piglets at 6 months old. You know what they're doing? We went into the farm and we went undercover. Those little piglets we saw in farrowing crates where the mum was trapped in a big, a cage that's only the size of her while she was giving birth on the concrete floor. Those little piglets have had their tails cut off and their teeth grind down because the farmers are purely evil, disgusting people. The pigs are around each other in small confinement areas. They tend to cannibalize on each other. It's disgusting, these places. The first thing when I opened the door, I saw rats run out of the area. I saw a mother who had to witness her baby being eaten alive by rats in front of her face, and she was in a cage because she couldn't move. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you're not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, please subscribe. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now, and this is where all the animals come to be killed, unless they die on the farm. Every single farm, this is probably something you don't know, every single farm has dead bins. Okay, why would somewhere where they apparently love their animals have dead bins? Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Number 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Number 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream and subscribe. I have not known a breed of individuals like animal farmers, to be so aggressive, to be so rude, to be so disgusting and evil to the most innocent. Animal farmers should be extinct, in my opinion. They should not be doing what they're doing. Even if there's generational, oh, my granddad started this. Well, your granddad's an absolute idiot for starting it. He's an idiot. And so is your family if they're animal farmers. Leave. Don't be like those disgusting people who farm animals, and do something that's good with your life. Don't be like those people oppressing animals. Anyone with a brain cell can understand commodifying someone else, using them as slaves and a use for them and killing them. It's wrong.
People are saying we need to eat meat to survive.
No, we don't. So this is another misconception that these evil farmers have put upon people, thinking that you need them. No, you get all your nutrients from plants. Every single nutrient that you need to survive comes from a plant. Where do you think the animals get their nutrients? They're not just born with nutrients like, oh, I'm like, this is protein, like chicken is protein. No, it's not. A chicken is not protein. The chicken eats soy and wheat, which has protein in. Then you then eat that secondhand. So you're eating secondhand protein. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Number 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. And number 3 if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live and please subscribe.
But we got canine teeth.
No, we don't. They're tiny. They're like little. And even if we did, it doesn't give us a justification to use that in such a violent way towards somebody else. Hippos are herbivores, and they have the biggest canines in the world. It doesn't mean anything. Just because I have a fist doesn't mean I should punch everybody in the face. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Number 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Number 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream and subscribe. Look, this is what you see when you go to a slaughterhouse. This is the poo and the wee from animals who are extremely afraid, they're scared, and when they are extremely afraid and scared, their autonomic nervous system hits in, and they basically, everything in their body just ejects, which is why you see this. Cows can smell up to 5 miles away. 5 miles they can smell these blood guts. They can hear extremely well, they can hear the cries, they can hear the workers shouting at the animals. That's what the workers doing here. All I hear is shouting, and I hear crying from the cows when we're in these places. It's horrible. Nobody should work here. Nobody should enter a place of evil like this. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live and subscribe. At this slaughterhouse right now, people may say, oh, small is better. Local, free range. It's all a lie. Local and free range mean nothing. Absolutely zero. It's just a word that they put as marketing. It's just a word they put as marketing for you guys to feel better about paying for the violence that happens towards animals. Smallholding farmers in here right now had about 3 cows in, 2 or 3 cows in. He's going to come out in a minute. That animal farmer has just committed the most worst act you could ever do to someone else. The worst act of betrayal. Lied to the animals, forced them into existence, took their babies away from the mothers, used them, commodified them. The animals had a death date before they were even born. In my opinion, this is premeditated murder, because if you put a human in the place of the animal, that would be what it is. Just because the victim changed doesn't change the act.
Where can people see inside of a slaughterhouse? And then if they want to go vegan, how do they do it? What help can they get?
Yeah, guys, okay, so number 1 in the chat if you're vegan, number 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, and number 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, please subscribe. If you want to see what happens inside this evil place, go to our description, watch Dominion for yourself, see what happens to the animals. That's the very first thing I would say do. It's the documentary everybody wishes they saw sooner and no one regrets watching. Then you can go to Challenge 22 and sign up for absolutely free. You can get help to go vegan. But you know what? Once you have the why, once you know why you go vegan, it's easy. You just quick search, double check some packets in the supermarket, and then within a month it's just your new routine, and you start understanding, like, even paracetamol. Some paracetamol have like cow's milk in. How disgusting is that? Some crisps have cow's milk in. How disgusting is that? Otherwise, it's just removing like 5 things from your diet and then not wearing any animal skin, leather, wool, and making sure you don't buy anything tested on animals, like your makeup, your washing liquid, and things like that. It's so easy. Understand your why, and then you'll always be able to be vegan. It's so easy. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Number 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. And number 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream and subscribe.
Are you just trying to piss people off today? Is this just rage baiting people?
No, absolutely not. We get very passionate because we're outside a slaughterhouse. I'm outside a slaughterhouse where they're killing the most innocent, childlike beings inside this evil place of hell. That's why I'm passionate. I've seen inside these places. I know what they do to animals. But I'm not here to hate on you guys on the live stream. That's why we go live. Number two's in the chat. You just don't know the industry, and that's not your fault. They want you to not know the industry. We both were once number twos. We didn't know the industry either, but when we knew, we changed instantly. Good people, when they see the truth, they go vegan on the spot. There is no thinking about it. This isn't like a baby step thing. We're not babies. You're vegan. It's an ethical stance against the use and exploitation of animals, and it should be immediate, with immediate effect. And then once you see an injustice, we should fight for them. We should fight for the victims because their voices are not being heard. They are crying and screaming in these places, but nobody is listening. So we must be the voice. We must speak up for them with everything we had. I wonder if cows actually spoke full-on English to us, if you could then oppress them then. What if the individual was telling you, I'm heartbroken, I'm terrorized by these people, what do I do? If they actually could come and speak to you and say that, would you defend them? Would you protect them then? Or is it because it's easier to pretend you don't understand them? Whereas in fact, they're screaming out, they're crying out, everyone knows what a scream is and they know what they are trying to do.
What is it over here? Explain what's going on over here.
Yeah, guys, number one in the chat if you're vegan, two in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, and three in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live and please subscribe. But what you can see here is a smallholding farmer has just dropped cows off to this dungeon of evil inside this place. In my opinion, that's what it is. He's now washing down the truck because those cows would have a poo and weed everywhere out of pure fear and terror of where they're going. He's left those individuals. He's left them around people with knives. That's what he's done.
Oh.
I absolutely love my dog. I love my dogs, I love my chickens, and I would never, for all the money in the world, send them to a place like this. I would never send them anywhere that someone could commit acts of killing, violence. It's evil. I would never do that to them. Number one in the chat if you're vegan, two in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, three in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream and please subscribe.
For anyone joining the live stream, what are we doing here today? What's the objective?
Just defending the animals. I'm defending the animals from you who you may not understand what happens. Defending them and showing you guys the reality, because when people see the reality, they change. Nobody, when they sees, continues. Nobody. Apart from a small minority. The small minority of people don't have a vegan heart, but the majority of people do. A vegan heart is just someone who's been indoctrinated, but in fact, they'll tell you that they love animals. What do most children say when they see animals? Oh, I love animals, look at them, I just want to cuddle them. They adore them. Their natural instinct isn't to run over and cut their head off, is it? And in fact, parents hide what happens inside these places. With activists that are outside with TVs, parents will literally hide their child's head so they can't see. If we were supposed to be doing this, do you not think that parents would be like, oh yeah, this is what happens, yeah. Number one in the chat if you're vegan. Number two in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Number three in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream and please subscribe.
What made you vegan? Why are you doing this today?
The dairy industry. The dairy industry, my sadness, my heartbreak, and then realizing that I was the monster. That changed me to go vegan. When I saw inside a slaughterhouse, I saw Joey Carbstrong, an incredible activist, go and follow him. He was doing a debate table about the dairy industry, and I was like, what's there to debate about the dairy industry? I genuinely thought cows just produce milk. And that was it. I'll explain the story in a minute. Number one in the chat if you're vegan, two in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, three in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream and please subscribe. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now. What I witnessed after he explained that cows have to be pregnant to produce milk, they have their babies taken away from them, the males are killed because the males don't produce milk, they're considered a waste product. I've seen with my own eyes male calves, by the way, going into a slaughterhouse, little baby cows, tiny little babies. What then happened is that on the screen, a few seconds of inside a slaughterhouse popped up, there was a mother cow on her side having her throat slashed open. Bolt gun in the head, slashed open, bolt gun in the head, slashed open. Broke my heart. Let me tell you now, bolt guns are not for the animals. The animals feel everything. When someone is bolt gun, they still feel everything. It is an absolute lie. They just tell you that bolt gunning makes it humane. It doesn't. Number one in the chat if you're vegan. Number two in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. And number three in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live and please subscribe. Animals are coming in here today. We've already had a small holding truck come in here today. We were already here yesterday and we saw about 7 trucks arrive. Evil place.
If people want to see inside these places, where can they go? And then if they want to go vegan, What's the best thing to do?
Yeah, go to the link in the description and go and watch a documentary called Dominion. It's about an hour and a half. It'll be the best decision that you ever make in your entire life. That will be enough to go vegan. That alone will be your why. Your why you're vegan is for the animals. To be vegan is not a diet. It just relates to your diet and other things because animals are used in the food system. Veganism is a moral stance against the use and exploitation of animals. We don't wear them, we don't use them, we don't bet on them, we don't have them as slaves or ride on them. That's evil, that's slavery, it shouldn't happen. If you need help, if you really don't know where to start, go to Challenge 22, sign up for free, and you get a mentor to help you for free to be vegan. But what I would say, if you're on here thinking, you know what, I should do this, all you do is just you go to Tesco's and you buy what you did before, but the vegan alternative. There's a plant-based section. Just make sure it says vegan, not vegetarian, because vegetarian is still extreme and they still kill animals for dairy and eggs. Make sure it says vegan. You can get vegan burgers, vegan chicken, vegan sausages, vegan quiches, vegan cheese, vegan yogurt, vegan milks, everything. And in fact, I've never tasted more food, like nicer food in my entire life. Before I was vegan, I realized I was so like confined to having like potato, veg and someone's flesh. It's disgusting. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan, double tap the like and subscribe. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now. They're killing cows behind me today. They're killing dairy cows from the dairy industry. They're killing beef cows from the beef industry.
When you do street outreach and you talk to people, what do good people do when they hear this? Do they oppose it with things like other animals eat animals, God said I can, or do good people do something different?
Yeah, no, when someone sees, they go vegan. When someone sees for the very first time, they may have some questions like, oh, where does protein come from? And will I get my nutrients and stuff? And you just kind of guiding them. You're like, yeah, everything you need comes from plants. You thrive on a plant-based diet, super easy. And they might need a bit of guidance. But when someone starts saying things like plants feel pain, or avocados though, or crop deaths though, you're just coming up with excuses to justify killing animals for violence. You're coming up with violent excuses, okay? Crop deaths. The world's crop farming isn't vegan. There'll be veganic farmers that can do vertical farming, and you can farm even in the underground. They're farming plants in the underground where no crop deaths is even happening. I'll explain more about that in a minute. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan, double tap the live stream and subscribe. So you can do that in a way that no animals are killed. But even if we couldn't and all we had is what we had right now, there's 90 billion animals here that eat plants. Okay, that we farm into existence every year. There's 9 billion humans that are eating the animals and then eating the plants. If every one of those 9 billion humans was vegan, you would just eat the plants. So all those crop deaths and all those animals killing would be massively lowered to minuscule. And then when the majority of people are vegan, you have veganic farmers who won't use farming as an excuse to shoot pigeons out the sky or an excuse to kill badgers. There's better ways. There's better ways to do crop farming, but there's no good way to kill animals who don't want to die. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Number 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. And number 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the screen and please subscribe. Like you always say, Steve, people are waiting for perfection until they're trying to do the right thing.
Absolutely.
That's like saying, I'm not gonna be anti-slavery until it's illegal. That's like that, you're that person. That's your mindset. You're not even trying to do the right thing whilst you can.
Yeah. And this slaughterhouse, they only kill 2 types of cows, beef cows and dairy cows. Why are dairy cows killed?
Yeah, so dairy cows, when they can no longer either conceive, so they can't get pregnant by the farmer, forcing them inside her, or they've been intensively milked, they've had baby after baby taken away, and they can no longer stand up. Then they get sent to a slaughterhouse to be killed. They're like rubbish to the farmer. This is why when the farmers turn up, it's like taking the animals to a dump. They're discarding their rubbish, right? That's what they're doing. And then they're telling you, they'll go in there and be like, yeah, see you later, get my paycheck. They'll then tell you, oh, we love our animals. We take good care of our animals. Oh, I even have a name for them. Do you? Well, I love my dog. I have a name for my dog and I adore him and I'd protect him with my life. I'd die before someone killed my dog. I would die before someone killed my dog. And animal farmers are telling you, oh, but we kill them humanely. Oh, they're so brainwashed. They're so messed up in the head. They've been indoctrinated by this horrible community that they're in. And then people watch things like Clarkson's Farm and be like, oh, Clarkson's he's a good farmer. No, they all take their animals to a slaughterhouse. There's no right way to kill an animal who doesn't want to die. Just like these evil people behind here, in my opinion, they're evil because of what they do to animals. Smallholding farmer right now is inside this place about to come out, talking to the security right now, probably scared because animal farmers are cowards. People who bully animals are cowardly because they know the animals can't fight back. They know that the animals won't fight back because they're kind animals. They're sweet. Why do you think they don't farm tigers and jaguars? Because they would fight back and they'd kill the human, right? But they bully the most innocent. That's the most cowardly mindset you can ever have. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live and subscribe. It's gonna come out right now. Had to have a little briefing though of the security to be like, I'm scared or whatever it was saying. Evil animal farmers. So behind me, you're going to witness now coming out a smallholding farmer who has just betrayed the animals. Betrayed the animals. What an awful, awful people who do this. Look at these kill workers. I don't get why people don't do something good with their lives. How could these individuals do this? How could animal farmers betray the animals? Look, and then drives away like they're rubbish, discarded those animals who are going to be stabbed in the throat because he forced them into existence. How evil, how disgusting. These places need to be shut down for good. Animal farmers should be extinct from our existence. They are not welcome on our planet. They are not welcome here. Anyone who is not welcome here who hurts animals should not be amongst the general public. It's not normal to do that. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded and not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live and subscribe. Thank you guys for being on this live stream. Thank you for anyone who gave super thanks, asked questions, helped support the animals and defend the animals with us. We appreciate you all so much, and we're going to see you on the next live stream.